My name's
Beni Kwagala is an elder and resident at Plot 1C. He occupied this house on orders of the former president of Uganda, Idi Amin Dada, in the early 70s. He was working with Amoco Company.
As he was touring, my machine I was working on, called the chopping machine, was not operating because I had not come yet in the factory. That was at 8 o'clock. So when I came a bit late. They told him, now the operator has come, let's go and see how that machine works. I was working on a shopping machine which makes sprints. When he came, he asked me, my son, why have you come late? Kwa nini unakuja late? I told him, sir, I'm staying very fine in Mafubira. I don't have a house in town here. He directed by then the governor, who was Mr. Okai, who was accompanying him, that he should try his level best to get a house in the town here. This is of the party Asian property. The very day the governor came back, he told me, Ben, come, we have got a house for you. They brought me to the house. It has 4 apartments. They told me that is the house. Then I went back to the general manager. I told him the house they have got for me has 4 apartments.
This compelled him to formalize his residence in this building.
Then the general manager suggested that no, since that house is very big for you, let Amco take it over. And Amco took over that house. They normalized the documentation with the custodian board, and Amco started paying for that house in the custodian board.
All the occupants later applied for allocation to the custodian board and were granted permission since the property was not fully repossessed by the initial proprietors. These included Jayantilal Govinci Kotecha, Jayendra Govinci Kotecha, Rasik Govinci Kotecha, and Ramesh Govinci Kotecha, who were tenants in common in shares. A1 Vijay Kotecha surfaced claiming to have repossessed the property using powers of attorney from the registered proprietors.
You had to come, apply, do this, notify ABCD, and go through immigration, prove that you had ownership, ABC, and so on and so forth. All those provisions. People don't go in for that. They simply go and say, power of attorney. Powers of attorney were not allowed. Okay? Then somebody says, you see, by telegram, we repossess this property. Telegram.
The custodian board then directed for an investigation into the matter. Vijay Kotecha was not part of the 4 proprietors on the original certificate of ownership, but was sharing a name, Kotecha.
He told the management that he is the real owner of this property and he has repossessed it. So from that time, Amco should be arranged to pay money to him as a rent. Amco, after considering his request, Amco said, no, for us we are not going to pay you money, but we shall hand you over the people who are in that houses. If you can agree with them to pay money direct, Amco has no problem. We discussed the matter with the Kotecha. He has said he agrees for me to start paying money directly to him. And all the others also agreed to pay money directly to him. So from 1995, I paid the rent directly to Kotecha up to 2019 July.
Muzusa and company advocates sued Beni Kwagala under duress for rent, but it is not clear whether they presented their documents to the custodian board for verification of ownership before taking the matter to the courts of law.
But the land trying magistrate did not heed to my request. He went ahead and said, the case, you have lost. In his ruling, he said that I must leave the place. The ruling was in the favor of Kotecha, and I should pay all costs to him.
I have no problem meeting you. My point is very simple. That it is better you meet with someone who has, let's say, an allocation letter, you get it. Such that by the time you come, we are meeting, because we will be giving documentation, you get it. That's what I'm saying, that it's better like you come when you are prepared after getting a full story from the person claiming either ownership or saying that was evicted, you get it. So that in my response to you, it will be like clear, giving you paperwork and
This man is behind all these evictions that we're witnessing in Jinja City. And I want to believe that the custodian board is aware of all that. Why isn't this man inside? Why is he not arrested?
Sorry to say this, my brother, me myself, I've never seen Stephen Muzusa. I see him in documents here.
You have never met him personally?
Never.
Or even talking with him on phone?
I don't know his number. Why do I just hear Muzusa. I've never seen him like this. Like I'm seeing you here, my brother.
We have established that Kotecha signed an affidavit in 2020, yet he was away from Uganda.
The whole country was in total lockdown. The airport was not operating. All borders were closed. Why did he pass to come and make this affidavit?
Kwagala made an appeal to the High Court over the same.
And in the meantime, I also opened up another forgery case against Musuza because he used an affidavit which was forged in a court. But the DPP is frustrating me. The file up to now, he has not sanctioned that file. Is even intending to close the file that because I have not gone to immigration to bring the evidence from there. It is not me to go to immigration, it is the police who is investigating the case. And they are the one to go to immigration, bring the documents from there, which shows if Kotecha came here, because this man traveled with the plane and passport. The records are there.
We have also established that the certificate of title was faked to include Vijay Kotecha as the owner of the property.
Who is that man called Kotecha?
I don't know that Kotecha, because among the proprietors of Plot 1C, he's not there.
So you don't blame the tenants. The tenants are in the right places because these are government property. These are government properties. Okay? And the tenant can be anywhere. Okay, he could be a trespasser if he's not paying, and so on and so forth. But if you find me in a place, somehow you either legalize or you tell me to quit through legal means.
Awajijine tutwala empapulezo anti-corruption tutwala empapulezo nga twekubirira endulu nga tumanyi nti abantu b'omu Jinja ngobo tukimanyi bafuna ebintu ne bakozesa police ne bakozesa ki ne batwindikitinga.
And the IG is investigating. We have a regional office in Jinja which has been investigating some of the cases. Our reports have been prepared in respect to the investigations that have been finalized. We have issued directives on certain cases.
At some point, you find someone has a receipt from custodian board from Ministry of Finance. But when you trace very well, you get lost somewhere. You can't trace it up to the end.
We cannot just divulge into the issue without knowing what the genesis is. But we have a number of cases involved in Jinja City. About the evictions, nobody has brought that to our attention.
Era ekiwandiiko kye twawandika twagamba gavumenti kyetaaga eyambe eyingire mu nsonga zitumanye bano batuwandikira batya ekiwandiiko nga ne investigation ekitugoba nga ne investigation tezinnaba kuggwa. Custodian board kize yasaba tusaba ebibeere ng'eryamba tuleme kukozesebwa kukola loss ate ne gavumenti ereme kukozesebwa kukola loss.
And we normally handle on a case-by-case basis. If the eviction is corruption related, please share with us. We rely on information the public gives us, and then we sanction investigations, yes.
N'olwekyo bwe twawandika ebbaluwa ezo tezidibwangamu amabaluwa gagenda mangi mu bitundu ebyenjawulo tetwafuna response.
So we have those lions in empty biriya bitambulira galala. They are just there, they want to, they want to eat up everything. And moreover alone, they are not even thinking of the people. So my people of Jinja, you need to be very careful. Ekigambo yuko ibatira kwesaba mafia. But these are serious mafias, my dear. They are very serious. So if we don't butavayo ngaba na idinda, we shall lose it.
A few elements are using their powers to suffocate the entire city. Easy. The moment you take the names, the next day you see a letter come blocking you. And these are government agencies doing this. They come do investigations, nothing.
We have carefully examined these two documents and now make a comparison. The original certificate has 2 margins and stamps from the Ministry of Lands and is a certified copy from the Registrar of Titles. Everything else is similar, but there is alteration of stamps to include stamps of Commissioner of Oath and eliminating the 2 stamps on the original certificate. This is possibly how the change of ownership was fraudulently executed. After changing ownership to Vijay Kotecha, he sold the property to Hussein Kakande at a tune of 500 million Uganda shillings.
He had received 200 million. A balance of 300 million was to receive them after they have evicted us from the house.
Are you aware of that?
That one I'm not aware because I'm not there. I'm not party to that. 2022 Clive Road, they were demolished. Somebody has built a house on, is it Hussein? Somebody?
Yes.
But for us, we are going to sell that property.
And that is the man who bought 1C. Haji Hussein something.
Is it the same person?
Yes.
I pity him.
That is the same person.
The easiest I would advise him,
Eh.
either run and clear up, legalize the one of 22 where he's building with the custodian board before we take on him.
This followed a notice of eviction, which was later executed to eject Ben and the family from the house.
Muziransa, who was his lawyer, came with the armed people, private guards, not Uganda police, but the private guards. In the morning around 8 o'clock, they wanted to evict us from the house. This we did not accept. We rang the RDC, who was in charge of security. RDC also informed the DPC, RISO, they all came to the property. They asked him the answer, do you have a court order to remove these people from the house? He did not have it.
You have no court order? You have nothing? You simply come and say, I've told you to leave?
Whatever is taking place in Jinja City is known to many. The IGG has been written to in many cases. The Prime Minister, Minister for Finance, the Speaker of Parliament, the State House Anti-Corruption Unit, but the silence of these officers has left locals in harm's way.
Who owns, that property belongs to who? Who owns it?
Which one?
Confirm to us, plot 1C.
Plot 1C is for custodian board. Because the rightful owners of that property never came back to the country.